What's good in the hood, YouTube? This is Crazy Samurai 71 here, bringing you guys another video. Today I'm bringing you guys a video on Kamen Rider Geo episode 8. This episode is called Beauty and the Beast 2012, and the episode overall was pretty good. This episode introduces the Kamen Rider Wizard armor form for Kamen Rider Gaze, so that is cool. This episode also showcases a bunch of forms we've seen already, and just in general it was a pretty well done episode overall. So, let me get started by going over it. The episode basically starts where the previous one continued. Tsukuyomi is actually knocked out at this episode. That's actually where the beauty aspect comes to it. Because again, the name actually is a play off of Beauty and the Beast, but there's more to it because the beauty is actually not like Hayase's girlfriend from the previous episode. The beauty is actually supposed to be Tsukuyomi. The beast is supposed to be, it kind of is two things in a way. In a way, you kind of can consider Hayase's girlfriend, like not girlfriend, the one that he follows for as a beauty, and then also Hayase as the beast, but at the same time, Tsukuyomi is considered a beauty in this, and the other beast is Kamen Rider Beast. Because again, this also is the tribute episode where we actually get to see a tribute to Kamen Rider Wizard. In this case, rather than having Kamen Rider Wizard show up, Kamen Rider Beast is the one that makes the cameo for the season. So yeah, there's a couple of things going on there. And 2012 obviously refers to Kamen Rider Wizard again. So yeah, a bunch of different things are happening at once here. So what happens is that we end up seeing that, first of all, they're continuing the story. We see that Hayase is trying to get revenge now on the fiance. Not the fiance. Like on her soon-to-be husband of Hayase, the one that Hayase loves. And the thing is that he's now going after her. And initially, the guy can't believe that he's like this monster. But the thing is that eventually he starts attacking her, and he's using his Kamen Rider abilities for the purposes of attacking people and getting revenge, rather than doing it for the good of humanity and trying to save people and provide a service to them, which is, you know, counter the whole idea of being a Kamen Rider, and he doesn't really understand that. What we do end up seeing is that there's still arguments going on between Gaze and Sugo, which are still a constant thing, but at the same time, this episode kind of pushes things more in the favor of Sugo, where he's starting to be a little bit more crafty and smart with his way of speaking to Gaze, which is kind of good. It really shows a lot of change in his personality and what he's willing to do, which is good. What we do end up seeing in this episode overall is that they're also, like, Gaze ends up looking for the guy that had the wizard and the beast ride watches, and this guy keeps on trying to trail Gaze, and eventually at one point Gaze and this guy end up meeting each other, and it turns out that it's Nito Kosuke, the person that played Kamen Rider Beast in Kamen Rider Wizard. So we get to see him show up, which is very cool. We actually get to see at first that he won't give him the ride watches because he doesn't know why he has them, and he knows it has something to do with Gaze giving them to him, but he doesn't know his whole story, so he's not sure if he should really trust him or anything. And they try to understand how these people lose their memories of their past. And what happens is that Gaze returns back to the base where we end up seeing Sugo, and Sugo actually like tries to look for Woes, and Woes ends up informing him whenever the other riders are made, the people that were the Kamen Riders lose their memories temporarily, and they gain them back temporarily, which is kind of interesting to note as well, that it's a temporary regaining of memory. As to why that is, it's still unclear as to why he specifically said that. That does bring up the question, why would it be a temporary situation? Why not a completely constant, which is interesting. What we do end up seeing is that eventually, what do you call it? Sugo gets into a fight with another wizard and he ends up fighting. Eventually, at one point, Nito remembers his past as being Kamen Rider Beast and fighting alongside Kamen Rider Wizard. And so eventually he actually confronts Gaze. He also transforms into Kamen Rider Beast, which is very cool. So you get to hear the transformation, the Lion, Lion. You know, that whole chant that always happened with Kamen Rider Beast. I love that. So that was kind of cool. We got to see a small little brief fight. Didn't really get to use any of his abilities, which would have been really cool. But we do see like the rings, which is great. I actually love that a lot. It was a quick thing, but in general, it didn't lead to a long fight, which honestly I would have preferred to have seen a fight with Kamen Rider Gaze going up against Kamen Rider Beast. I mean, my gosh, if it really turned into a real fight, that would have been insane. What we do end up seeing, though, is that eventually he does give them the ride watches, and eventually Gaze goes and travels to the year 2012, since that's the year that he needs to go to solve the issues of the past. What we do end up seeing as well is that Sugo ends up trying to deal with Hayase, trying to calm him down. Woz thinks that he should go after Gaze to get the ride watch, but Sugo says that he needs to stay where he is and help fight against Hayase. So he ends up fighting him in the present day. He uses the Build Ride Watch, and he also uses the Forze Ride Watch in this battle. The Build Ride Watch he uses first, and then the Forze one he uses later, and he uses it to finish off the another wizard. In the past, we do see the continuation of the story, where in this case, Gaze actually uses the Wizard Ride Watch to take the form of Kamen Rider Gaze wizard armor. So we get to see that, which looks really, really cool. So we see that in combat. He uses some cool attacks that Wizard would use, but like kind of formatting it based off of his current weaponry and stuff like that. Like he uses the Zax weapon that he has, but he uses it like with this gigantic weapon that he uses to like create a huge cutting like a cutting weapon, which is pretty cool. We do also end up seeing that Kamen Rider well, after he defeats it and then Sugo defeats the current one, the modern day one actually has it where Sugo asks Woz for his phone, the phone that's similar to the one that Gaze has, which is the Fi's phone, so he can contact Gaze in the past to tell him to let Hayase from the past speak to Hayase from the future, since the Hayase from the future will inform his past self that he has to confess his feelings to this girl that he loves, because if he does it, he'll be better off even if it doesn't work out, and if he just doesn't do it and he does what he actually ended up doing. In other words, he's trying to help himself become a better version of himself, so that this way, when he reaches 6 years in the future, he'll actually have a decent life and he won't be in this terrible situation that he was in. So that's worth noting. Overall, it was very good. Tsukuyomi does end up waking up after Gaze ends up fighting, but also Sugo is another part of why he's woken up, because Sugo really makes them realize what they have to do, and also using Woz as a tool is kind of important, because now Sugo realizes that wherever whatever he needs him, he can contact Woz now, which is worth noting. That is very interesting. We do end up seeing that Gaze later on confronts Tsukuyomi, and the thing is that I'm wondering why Tsukuyomi was considered like a beauty. It was because she was in this deep sleep, and so then she wakes up after like having to deal with like the spells and everything, and so it's kind of similar to like Beauty and like Sleeping Beauty, not Beauty and the Beast, but like Beauty from that Beauty, and then Beast doesn't like, you know, it's kind of interesting mixing. So anyway, there is this point where Gaze says that like we might be dealing with a much harsher enemy than we thought, or a much harsher thing than we realized when it came to like Sugo. Like they didn't realize what they were really getting themselves into. So that is something to note, of course. what we do also see is that they then end up preview what will be happening in the future for the next episode, which they end up showcasing that the next episode will have the appearance of Kamen Rider Ganem, or Don Karuto, which many people will be very much so excited to finally see him return, because he's a character of his own and he's super popular just for being that standout character overall, which I'll admit he's definitely worth looking into. If you haven't watched Kamen Rider X8, he's totally, such a crazy character that's worth just watching for him. Overall, though, I'm looking forward to that. We should be seeing 2 new things next episode. First of all, we will be seeing the Kamen Rider. I believe it's supposed to be the Kamen Rider Gaze with Ganem armor, and also we'll be seeing another Rider O's. So there won't be another Rider Ganem, because we don't need another Rider Ganem if we already had another Rider X8. So instead they're actually doing like a 2-part situation with O's, where the first part has Don Karuto, which I believe Don Karuto is supposed to be the another Rider O's, and which is actually kind of interesting. And then the follow-up part will have Edgy, who played Kamen Rider O's, which is super exciting. I can't wait to see the Kamen Rider O's armor form that Sugo will be using in episode 10. We also supposedly know already that episode 11 is going to have Sugo getting the Gaia. Well, either he'll be getting the armor, or there'll be the first part of the story that will lead to Sugo gaining the Gaia armor, which I'm very excited for that, because that one looks like it's going to be really cool. I mean, we've already seen some early images of it. After that, I still don't know what's happening episodes 12 and so on, as far as which rider armors we'll be getting. Of course, they'll probably be announcing that, I would say, probably by the end of next week. Yeah. Typically, the way that it works is that they announce stuff by the end of the month. So I would say by next week, I'll probably know exactly what the rider armor will be. And what that also means is that by next week, what that likely means is that by episode 10, I should know more about what will be happening in episodes 12 and so on and so forth. So that's interesting. And I'm definitely looking forward to finding out all that and more. Again, they're still releasing some of those ride watches that we haven't actually seen them in the show, but we're seeing them as merchandise early, like Hibiki and some of the other ones. Like they recently showcased Kiva and Blade, I believe, and they're doing like a special movie where they're gonna have like Kiva, Blade. They also showcased the W and also the Deno one and one other one that I'm forgetting right now, the another rider forms. So all those things should be very cool and something that I'm looking forward to. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So until then, guys, I am Crazy Samurai 71, and goodbye, guys.